The Alpha Sessions.
This is Alpha Sessions on Radio Brockley, and with me now I'm pleased to welcome Charlotte Kaye. Welcome to Radio Brockley.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. So tell us a little bit about how you got into music.
Okay, so I started singing when I was about 7 years old because my sister sang, so I think I kind of copied her,
Right.
being a younger sister. And then I was singing in musical theatre, and then we had an old piano in my dining room in my house, which was brought down in generations, and I started playing the piano and started songwriting as well.
So you're from a very musical family then?
Yeah, my nana was actually in shows. She was a model, a singer, quite famous back in the day. You know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, what sort of stuff was she in?
She was in Salad Days.
Wow.
When she was, so she was also the milk lady on all the adverts and things like that. For
Really?
For chocolate bars and things. Yeah.
Brilliant.
It was good.
So you obviously were brought up listening to a lot of music. So what sort of music would you have been listening to?
A lot of soul music, David Bowie, and things like that. You know, my dad was a massive David Bowie fan. Stevie Wonder and things like that in the car, yeah. It was soulful pop music as well, and a lot of musical theatre.
So you were singing along to these in the car, were you?
Yeah.
So at what point did you decide that's what I want to do as a career?
Well, I've always wanted it. From a very, very young age, I knew that I always wanted to be a singer, always.
Was there anyone in particular that you sort of grew up thinking, oh, I want to be like that person?
Not in particular, but I remember from a very, very young age, since I was about 7 years old, my mum's best friend did a charity show for Fight for Life. It started off for my grandpa because unfortunately he passed away, and we started a charity show for him in the Radlett Centre. And for, I don't know how long it is now, from 7 years and now I'm 21, I've literally been doing shows every year for that charity. So that's why I was kind of brought into the music industry as well, and things like that. And I did dancing, but I don't dance anymore. But I sung solos every year.
I was going to say, your website says you started performing at the age of 10.
Yeah.
So what sort of gigs were you doing in the early stages?
Those charity shows, singing solo, and then eventually doing a full solo. And I recently sang a duet with my sister because she's a singer as well, and it was the first time we've ever done it, and it was just amazing to do it with her as well.
Did you ever think about doing, sort of forming a duo between the two of you, or have you got quite different musical tastes?
We did try it, but our voices are very, very different, and it's better to do it solo. We have very different voices and different influences as well in music. Yeah.
Was there ever a lot of competition between the two of you, or not really?
No, not at all. I mean, she's so supportive. I'm supportive of her as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously the upshot of that is that you went into a degree in songwriting.
Yes. So I actually started when I was 16. I did a vocal diploma in a university called the Institute of Contemporary Music and Performance. And then when I was 17, a year early, I did a songwriting degree and recently graduated. And then at the age of 20, I started a songwriting master's. So I think it's the first songwriting master's in London to ever exist.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, did you make up your mind by that stage that that's something that you wanted to do full time? Did you have ideas of other careers you wanted to go into?
Never, ever, ever. I mean,
Really?
Obviously, I went to schools and education. I was, I got good grades, but my passion was, music and singing, and wouldn't have it any other way.
I'm really interested to find out more about how a songwriting degree or master's works.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, based on what you've learned, how would you then go about teaching someone else to write a song now? I mean, if I was going to sit down and write a song, what can you tell me now that you've done the course that you wouldn't have been able to tell me before?
You don't necessarily learn how to write a song. You learn the requirements of different genres and how to write a song in that genre. And you also, it's more about building up the confidence, more about the theory behind it. So if I was to teach, other students, I would kind of say, do what you want to do, write what you want to write, but look more into the genre that you want to perform in, and kind of build up their confidence as well.
And has it taken you into other genres of music that you wouldn't have perhaps considered before doing the course?
Yeah, I mean, I think my musical theatre background still is very strong, but I am now kind of pop, and I've got the soul from when, I was a lot younger. My dad used to play the songs in the car. So I kind of got all different genres put together. So there's not one particular genre. So, yeah. And I've learned a lot of jazz from the school as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of jazz. And my piano playing's improved as well. So it's got a lot of jazz influence in it.
So when did you start learning to play the piano?
I've never learned self-taught.
Really?
I actually had one lesson, and I hated it so much that I'm never having a lesson again, because I just like to improvise. And I feel like if you learn more and you have more knowledge on the piano, you become more restricted and less able to explore.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did you learn to read music from a very young age, or did you just pick songs out then?
I can read music from studying the theory side of it from the degree, but I choose not to do it. And if I do hear a song, I can play it straight away just by ear.
Wow.
But I choose not to read it.
Yeah.
Definitely not. I definitely think it restricts you.
Okay, so let's play a song now. This track's called "Who Am I?" What's this one about?
Well, it's quite self-explanatory. It's about, who I am, and it's also about kind of losing yourself in, a situation, whether it's a relationship or, you're doing something quite important, and, you want to go back to who you are and the roots of where you're from. Facing it all alone, 'cause everyone's fed up. They all think I'm fine, but really I've given up. Say, oh, don't be afraid, never pans out. I'm holding on, but I've let myself go. I'm still breathing, so I'll carry on. Who am I to leave behind, the one to get me by? Who am I to compromise, to keep my love alive? But if I will never choose, I will never lose. Who am I to lose myself, 'cause I love the wrong guy? When I say I'm fine, you know what I really mean. I don't trust you, but I'm scared for it to be just me. I'm still breathing, so I'll carry on. Who am I to leave behind, the one to get me by? Who am I to compromise, to keep with the wrong guy.
The Alpha Sessions.
So let's talk about the songwriting process then and how it works for you. So do you just sort of sit down one day and think, I'm going to write a song today, or does it just have to naturally happen?
Well, I try to make sure that I leave at least an hour per day to write something. I've actually only ever written on one piano, and that's the piano in my dining room that's been brought down in generations. I can't write anywhere else. I mean, I haven't tried to, but that's where all my inspirations from day to day go into straight into that room. Wow. So I would sit down at the piano and kind of, I have a writing book, an ideas book, see if I have any ideas in there, or, I just improvise and hopefully something comes from that as well.
So you say you write at the piano, so are you writing the melody before the lyrics, or how does it work?
So I improvise kind of a chord progression, and then I sing over it, and then I write the lyrics to it. But I don't write, I kind of memorise it, and then I always go back to it.
Right.
So I don't write the music down, I don't transcribe it, nothing like that.
Are there certain days where it just doesn't happen for you and other days that it flows?
No, but I do find that when your time is more restricted and you have less time in your hands, I write the best songs in the short amount of times.
And where do you get your inspiration for your songs from?
Day-to-day life, personal situations. For example, I wrote a song about my best friend who passed away on my birthday. So things like everyday situations, right. I kind of just put it into a song. General arguments with friends or arguments with boyfriends or, something that happens. But my songs are happy as well, so it's not just sad songs.
I'm always intrigued to know, when you write about something like that, do you ever worry about, what if so-and-so spots that this song is about that argument I had with them a while ago?
Then let them know. I'm not that bothered. I mean, honestly, if that in my opinion, that makes a song authentic. When it's something is so true and something is so real, it makes them really authentic. I mean, that's why I do prefer singing in front of crowds that I don't know. I prefer bigger crowds than smaller crowds because if they're a smaller crowd, there's a more chance of them asking you what the song was about.
I was going to say, you've never had an awkward moment where you've had to sort of pretty much say to someone, this song, that's all about sort of a lot of anger.
No, I've never had that awkward situation, right. But no, I wonder what would happen. But I do always try and explain my songs before I sing them. In between my songs, I introduce them and I say this is so and so and this is what it's about and sort of things like that. Yeah.
And how long would you say it, on average, takes you to write a song from beginning to end?
Well, it ranges from about 5 minutes to about a week.
Really?
Yeah.
5 minutes? That's quite impressive.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But when I mean 5 minutes, I mean I will not touch it after that. If I'm so happy with something, I will not touch it.
Okay. Let's talk about the gigging, because you've done quite a bit of that, as you mentioned before. Tell us about some of the gigs that you've done around London over the last couple of years.
Well, I've had recently my launch party for my single, and that was in the Pheasantry in Chelsea, and that was great. Completely sold out, full house, and I headlined and I sung, I think, around 20 songs with a break in the middle, just to kind of get my single out there, promote it, and launch it. It was a launch party.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about the single in a bit.
Yes.
But I mean, in terms of gigs, are there any particular things you look for in the perfect venue? What sort of place do you like to gig?
Well, I wouldn't say picky, but I prefer playing a proper piano to, let's say, a keyboard. I feel like there's more authenticity in it. There's more, the sound it's a complete different sound, and it creates a complete different atmosphere as well, rather than playing a keyboard. I mean, it could even be an upright piano. I'm not bothered, but I would prefer something a bit more real. Sure. That's what I do look for.
And do you have any sort of rituals that you have before you go on stage? Anything that you have to do before you go on stage?
Obviously I always warm up my voice. I'm very picky. If I feel like my voice is not up to scratch, I will always have a spoonful of honey, and things like that. But, there could be a myth. I don't know, but definitely warm up your voice, because even if, it could always ruin your voice if you go too far, you never know.
But you've had some singing training, some vocal training, have you, to know how to sort of look after your voice and stuff?
Yeah. So I have had singing lessons, from a very, very young age.
Yeah.
But not anymore, because I go to this university, they always kind of give tips and advice as well.
Okay. So in terms of if you could do the dream gig, let's say, with the perfect person of your choice, where would it be and who would you gig with?
Good question. I'd say the Albert Hall.
Amazing.
With, Adele
Oh, really?
or Sarah Bareilles.
Well, I do know you're a big fan of Adele, don't you? Because I've
Yes,
seen you
yeah.
post things of her on your Twitter feed.
Very, very
so.
big fan. Very big fan. I really, I think her music is amazing. Her recent music as well, and I think she's, been on an incredible journey.
I was going to say, what for you makes Adele? Because obviously, she is the biggest selling out there, isn't she?
Yeah.
What for you makes her stand out from everyone else?
She's just so real. Even when she's not speaking, she is just so funny. You can really relate to her, and she's just so honest. And it's just you get what you see.
Sure.
With her.
Okay, let's do another track, and this one's called Open Book. So tell us more about this one.
Okay, so Open Book was one of the first songs that I wrote leading up to my artist project. It's actually about, how my character's quite open when I'm open book, and it's sort of explaining how sometimes that can be, quite a bad thing, but actually overall it's actually a very, very good thing to be quite open. So that's just me going, into it and saying it's, it's okay to be open and it's okay to be, a bubbly personality. Wake up in the morning, turn the pages of our love story. Only to stop and stare, look at what's unfair of what you told me. Oh, I didn't have to try, I didn't have to try, but it's over. And when it comes to mine, and when it comes to mine, it was over, over. And if I didn't know her, I probably would be sitting here now. And if I sit and wonder, I probably would be saying goodbye. Like an open book, I swear I feel like I'm hopeless, but I need something new. Giving second chances makes the world go round for every orbit. I never found someone to love me for my own and be supportive. Oh, I didn't have to try, I didn't have to try, but it's over. And when it comes to mine, and when it comes to mine, it was over, over. And if I didn't know her, I probably would be sitting here now. And if I sit and wonder, I probably would be saying goodbye. And if I didn't know her, I probably would be saying goodbye. And if I sit and wonder, I probably would be saying goodbye. Like an open book, I swear I feel like I'm hopeless, but I need something new, something new, something new.
The Alpha Sessions.
So let's talk about the single, Refuse, which was out earlier this year.
Yeah.
Tell us how the whole thing came about.
Well, I'm always writing, and then this particular song, I thought it was ready to expose myself, and this particular song is something that it's a very special song to me. It's a very true song, and it's a song that it was my first honest song that I ever wrote. So I really wanted to kind of release that first before any of my other songs. And we thought we would release it and then see what would happen from it.
And how's the reception been so far?
Yeah, really, really good. I mean, so good that I want to release my EP next as soon as possible. You know, I love the whole process of it. It's very exciting and it's just an amazing buzz.
And talk us through the process, because obviously it's not just about the writing and the recording, is it? You know, there's the video to go with it and all the other promotion and stuff. Which parts of it do you enjoy the most?
I enjoy writing the songs. I mean, I feel after I write them, you get the most amazing energy afterwards. And then when you finally hear the result of the recording and you've been through this whole process of recording your songs, which is an amazing process as well, just hearing your song all come together with all the instruments, you know, you really get to hear your vision. You get to hear everything, and that's just an amazing feeling as well, hearing your song come to life.
Was it a fairly obvious choice of single for you? You knew straight away that's the one you wanted? Straight away.
Yeah. It's had that song had the best feedback, so I knew that was the one to release first.
And the recording process, were you very much involved in all the, the production and that?
Obviously I'm not a producer, but I put, the most amount of input I could put in the recording. But for example, like I would say, hit that note, and he'd just kind of do it for me. So I guess, it was more like a co-produce.
Yeah. And since then, you've obviously been working on the EP as well. So tell us about that, and when's that coming out?
So it should be coming out in the next month or so. That's another 4 songs, some mid-tempo, some slow ballads, but they're all really different, but they all kind of relate together as well. And they all kind of have the same, background around them.
Okay, cool. And as you go through, presumably you're learning quite a lot on the recording process about how you might want to do things differently next time and stuff.
Definitely. I mean, the first single, which was, Refuse, the first one, I wanted to keep that quite raw, quite simple, especially with the video as well. It was just me sitting at the piano. Now that people have seen me for who I am, I want to kind of put a bit more, oomph into it and see what would come from that as well.
So for anyone who hasn't heard your music before listening to this, how would you like to describe the genre that you fit in? How would you like to describe yourself?
I would say soul pop with musical theatre influence in my melody writing and then jazz influence in my piano writing.
Cool.
Yeah.
That sounds
quite long, but yeah.
I like that. So have you got any more gigs lined up in the coming weeks and months?
Not yet, because I'm finishing my masters. Okay. So I will finish my exams, and then once I do release the EP, I'll probably have a launch party for that as well and start gigging around for them. And
then the album.
Yes, and then the album. So I'm in the middle of recording the album and writing the album. And I'm really, really excited because, it's my songs, all out there for people to see. And I want to create a really large and, diverse portfolio of songs.
Yeah, cool. So what sort of timescale are we talking about for the album? Any ideas yet?
Maybe the end of next year. End of this year. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, we look forward to. You must come back when the album comes out and tell us all about how that goes.
Yes, I will. Yeah, I'm very excited.
So you're in the middle of the recording process of that at the moment, are you? Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Great. Well, it's really exciting, and thank you so much for coming down and sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having us.
So tell us more about how people can listen to what you do, what's on there online.
Okay, so my Twitter is Charlotte Kaye 7. My Instagram is Charlotte Kaye Music, as well as my Facebook, and my YouTube channel is also Charlotte Kaye Music. My single is out on Spotify, iTunes, the whole lot, and it's called Refuse, and my artist name is Charlotte Kaye.
With an E.
With an E, Charlotte with an E.
Exactly, yeah. And the video's on YouTube as well,
yes,
isn't it?
Yes, the music video is on
check
YouTube
out the video.
as well. Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. It's one of our tunes of the day on Alpha Sessions, so do check that out.
I also have a website as well.
Yes.
Which is www.charlottekaye.co.uk, and it does rhyme.
And you're really on it with all the social media stuff, right?
Yes. I wouldn't say obsessive, but I do like to post a lot of stuff.
There's so many emerging artists coming through who obviously are trying to promote themselves online. From what you've learned so far, what advice would you give to any sort of people just starting out?
I mean, for social media wise, don't worry what you put up. Completely be yourself. I post silly things or professional things. It doesn't matter. People are generally interested in your day-to-day life, and for my kind of artist project, I like to be quite real. So just, completely be yourself, write what you want to write, release what you want to release. That, there's no rules. There's completely no rules.
That's good advice. Well, Charlotte, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like a shadow in my mind, pushing everything aside, calling bluffs on you every single time, taking off the photographs, turning memories all bad, until I come to one, the last one I had. Of you make me feel like I cannot refuse something that has always been untrue. I know you're wrong, which makes me so confused. And if I changed your mind, I'm sure that you would always find a reason to just leave me behind. 4 years over time, you make me feel like I cannot refuse something that has always been untrue. I know you're wrong, which makes me so confused. It's true. Don't make me second guess if this is love. How are you the one I'm dreaming of? So tell me why I just can't refuse. Oh, you, I know I'm not your ghost, but maybe it's time to leave it all behind. You make me feel like I cannot refuse something that has always been untrue. I know you're wrong, which makes me so confused. It's true. Don't make me second guess if this is love. How are you the one I'm dreaming of? So tell me why I just can't refuse.